What is up, OWO Maniacs? Finally, it is here. My review of Halloween 2018. Hell of a lot longer than I expected it to be. Hell of a lot longer than I wanted it to be honest. But it was just one of those films I kept putting off buying new. I was sort of like, I'll find it cheap, pre-owned if need be. Never got round to it, and then I went to see my friend the other week, and he asked me if I wanted to watch it because he knew I wanted to. He knew I hadn't, so I was like, yeah, please, if you don't mind. He's like, no, man, I'll watch it with you. So I finally got to watch Halloween 2018. So now I can actually give you my review. Obviously, it's really late given the fact that we're in July 2019 now. So the film's been out for a while. Josh reviewed it a while ago. So yeah, he's pretty much done the Halloween series now as they are. He's only missing 3. He's missing Halloween 3, which is one that I did that he unfortunately wasn't able to do, but hopefully he will because it's a brilliant film. But anyway, yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of sort of background information, just stuff that I've found from various different sort of sources online and stuff. And then I'll sort of go into the main plot and then give you, as usual, my thoughts. It's going to be the same format as I did for the other Halloween films. So Halloween 2018 was directed by David Gordon Green. It was written by Green, Jeff Radley, and Danny McBride, who's best known for doing comedic stuff, Pineapple Express, Eastbound and Down, stuff like that. It stars Jamie Lee Curtis and Nick Castle, who reprise their roles as Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, respectively. A stuntman called James Jude Courtney was also involved. He, came back and did the Michael Myers stunts. So it's the 11th installment in the Halloween film series, and it's done as a direct sequel to Halloween from 1978. So you're pretty much supposed to forget that 2 happened. 3, as we know, is a completely different kettle of fish. 4, 5, 6 never happened. H2O, Resurrection, and the 2 Rob Zombie ones are just forgotten about completely. It's Halloween 1978, and then this one. So the plot, very briefly, but I'll go into it in great detail, like I said, in a bit, follows a post-traumatic Laurie Strode, who is preparing herself to face Michael Myers in final showdown 40 years after she survived his killing spree. A bit of information I found interesting. I don't know if you guys will or not, but I did. After failing to develop a new Halloween film in time, Dimension Films lost production rights for the sequel, so it reverted back to Miramax, who then joined with Blumhouse Productions. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And in May 2016, a new installment was officially announced with original co-creator John Carpenter's involvement as a composer, executive producer, and creative consultant. It premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival on September the 8th, 2018, and was theatrically released in theatres. I'll say it that way, it's easier. In the United States on October 19th, 2018 by Universal Pictures. And that was Universal's first involvement with the Halloween series since Halloween 3 Season of the Witch in 1982, which I have mentioned is the only one Josh hasn't seen. If anybody's not seen my Halloween 3 review and is put off by the fact that Michael Myers isn't in it and that's why they won't watch it, go watch Halloween 3. Even though Myers isn't in it, it is a brilliant film. And I'll just leave it at that for you. So anyway, the film received generally positive reviews from critics. Many consider it to be both the best Halloween sequel and a return to form for the series, which after 6 Resurrection doesn't really take much to form, to do in my opinion, but that's my opinion. And it grossed over $255 million worldwide, making it the highest grossing film in the franchise. And it also became the highest grossing slasher film, breaking the record that Scream had set in 1996. So, yeah, as well as setting several other box office records. I couldn't find out which ones. 2 sequels are scheduled for release in 2020 and 2021, and they will be Halloween Kills in 2020 and Halloween ends in 2021. So, given the title of that one, that could actually be the end of Michael Myers. So, I'll just have a quick drink of tea if you don't mind. Here is the plot. So, 40 years after the Haddonfield murders in 1978, two journalists, it's a very loose term for them, Aaron Corey and Dana Haynes, travel to Smith's Grove Sanitarium to interview Michael Myers, who was captured after Dr. Loomis shot him off the Doyle House balcony at the end of the first one. Like I said, Halloween 2 didn't happen, so he didn't get up. So, Dr. Ranbir Sartain, I'm probably massacring the pronunciation of that name, and I do apologise, is Michael's new psychiatrist after Loomis died. And he informs them that Michael can talk, just doesn't want to. So, Dana records the event as Aaron approaches Michael, who stood outside on what looks to be like a giant chessboard with other, patients, inmates, whatever you want to call them, dotted around the yard. Can't get him to talk, won't get no reaction out of him, and pulls the mask out of his bag, and even then gets no reaction. Though there is some sort of like reaction from Michael, that he sort of looks over his shoulder, and it's like he sees the mask, and the other inmates, patients, whatever, start going a bit funny as soon as the mask comes out. So, not getting anything out of Michael, which, the guy's not spoken for 40 years. Why is he going to talk to you two guys now? They leave Smith's Grove Sanitarium and decide to go and see Laura Strode at her house, which is, when you look at it, it's like a really old, decrepit house. It's got massive fences around it. She's got a massive steel gate, electric gate where she can only let people in from the inside. And she has massive spotlights all around it and everything. It's proper, like, fortified. It's like a little fort. They bribe her for an interview, telling her that they're podcasters. Well, they actually tell them they're investigative journalists and podcasters. She's not interested until the mention of $3,000 comes up, in which case, you see the gate open and it's like, yeah, in you come, I'll talk to you for $3,000. So, she's spent the last sort of 40 years dealing with post-traumatic stress, and she's sort of getting ready for Michael inevitably coming back, even though it has been 40 years and there's been nothing. So, her feelings have resulted in 2 failed marriages, and she lost custody of her daughter Karen at a young age. So Aaron and Dana tell Laurie that their interest is in finding out why Michael committed the murders in 1978 and ask her to meet with him in a final attempt to get him to speak before he's transferred to a maximum security prison. Laurie won't have none of it. Makes a reference about the boogeyman again. Aaron, the guy, says, I don't believe in the boogeyman, but I believe in Michael Myers. Anyway, she gets fed up with him, kicks him out of her house, but not before taking the $3,000 off him. So she gets $3,000 for 5 minutes work, which not bad going if you ask me. So it goes to the sanitarium then, and the transport is being prepared, and patients are getting loaded onto the bus. And Dr. Sartain insists on accompanying Michael. He tells the driver, no, he's my patient, and I'm staying with him all the way till he gets there. And the bus sets off. Meanwhile, in Haddonfield, Laurie's granddaughter and Karen's daughter Alison is walking to school with 2 friends and tells them the stress that her family goes through due to her grandmother's past. And sort of says that the town rumour that Michael is Laurie's brother is a load of crap and all this sort of stuff. And then a bit later on, Alison's in class. She looks out the window and sees Laurie stood over the other side of the road watching her. Anyway, she meets up with her grandmother, and she gives her the $3,000 from Aaron and Dana and tells her to have fun. I think it's graduation or something, I can't remember. There's some sort of reason why they're celebrating. Oh no, that comes later on, sorry. Total, yeah. Anyway, family meal at Karen's house. Laurie arrives and has a panic attack, and Alison sort of calms her down. Meanwhile, so she goes to a restaurant or something where they're having dinner, and comes in, downs a glass of wine pretty much, and starts talking about Michael and everything, and she has a bit of an attack. She goes outside, Alison goes out, comforts her. Meanwhile, the bus transport has crashed in a ditch. Security guards are dead, and inmates are just scattered around the road, walking around. So a man and his young lad driving down the road see the accident, see what's happened, and decide to get out and go and have a look. Even though the bus says sanitarium on it, and there's people in handcuffs walking around, he decides to get out. Tells his son to stay put. The father don't come out for a bit, so the son does what every kid does when they've been told to stay put. He goes out, but he grabs a rifle and goes to have a look. Gets onto the bus and finds a security guard that's really badly injured, and he tells him to run. He starts to look around the bus, gets spooked by Dr. Sate, and shoots him in the shoulder accidentally. Runs back to the truck, calls the police. Then all of a sudden Michael appears from the back seat and kills him. Which I think it's the first time I've seen Michael kill a child. They've usually been like in the teens and stuff. So to me that was the first sort of child kill that Michael had made. I could be wrong, probably am. But anyway, following morning, Sheriff Frank Hawkins explains to a deputy that Michael Myers escaped the transport and will most certainly be heading to Haddonfield to finish what he started 4 decades ago. Aaron and Dana arrive at a gas station. Dana leaves Aaron to use the bathroom while he goes inside to pay for the gas. He gets inside and the station is just deserted. He goes into the garage bit, stumbles upon a dead mechanic missing his overalls, and a cashier whose jaw's just been ripped open. Meanwhile, Michael attacks Dana in the bathroom, and when Aaron arrives to try and save Dana, Michael kills him by just grabbing hold of his head and just banging it against the door numerous times, just smashes his head in literally. And that kills him, and then he gets hold of Dana and strangles her. Goes out, has a look around the car, goes straight to the boot pretty much, opens the boot and finds the mask, and then you just get the iconic scene of him putting the mask back on. And it was like at this point I was like, oh yes, shit's about to go down now. So Laurie learns about the transport crash and breaks into Karen's house to demonstrate her lack of security. After a brief argument with her about Michael, Karen and her husband Ray, an argument with Karen and her husband Ray, Laurie leaves and heads to the gas station in time to see the bodies of Aaron and Dana being recovered and loaded up and stuff. So Halloween night, Michael wanders, obviously a really populated street in Haddonfield, littered with families and children trick-or-treating. He pretty much walks down this path. Nobody stops him, says or anything. Goes in, takes a hammer, goes into the house. It's one person house. They get hit with a hammer, and then he replaces the hammer with the traditional kitchen knife and moves to the house next door. And as the woman's closing her curtains, you see Michael walk up behind her, and then he just grabs her by the hair, bang, stabs her right through the throat. So while all this is going on, Alison's at a school party with her friends and gets a call from Vicky, who is a friend, inviting her to come over once Julian, the little kid she's babysitting, falls asleep. Alison gets into a bit of an argument with her boyfriend. Basically, she catches him kissing somebody else. He takes the phone off her and throws it into some, I don't know what the hell it is. It looks like chocolate mousse or some sort of mousse or something. Just as, obviously, her grandma, Laurie's trying to ring her and tell her to get home. So, at Julian's house, the little kid, he tells Vicky that he saw a masked man standing in the doorway. Vicky just puts it down as his imagination and takes him to bed and what have you. Her boyfriend, Dave, arrives. So, Julian asks her if she can check the closet. She opens the door and bang, Michael was inside and he attacks her. Julian gets out of the house and calls the police. Laurie's driving up and down the streets in her truck, and she has like a police scanner radio thing in it, and she hears the dispatch call on her radio, and she sets off to the house where Sheriff Hawkins is investigating. He finds Vicky's corpse, and Laurie is outside the house. She looks up into a window and sees Michael, and she shoots him, thinking she's got him, but it turns out it's just his reflection in a mirror. So Michael sets off down the house. Hawkins sets off behind him, and as he comes out of the house to find him, Laurie finds Michael, shoots him, but as she turns the corner, he's gone. So she pretty much just bumps into Hawkins. So Alison ditches her boyfriend at the party and lets her friend Oscar walk her home. They're having a good talk, and she's on about how she's sick of assholes, and he's telling her, you need something nice, and she's like, yeah, I do. So obviously he's had a few beers and he gets a bit brave and tries it on. She tells him to knock it off, sets off walking, and he's sort of lagging behind her. Meanwhile, he spots Michael watching him. By this point, he's gone into a house. They're cutting through a garden, and he's sort of fallen. And then he spots Michael in the house. Then the lights are on motion sensors, so every time the lights go off and they come back on, Michael's a little bit closer to him. Oscar tries to escape, but he gets caught on a fence, and one of those with the big metal spikes on, Michael gets him and just impales him on it. Alison hears him screaming and shouting, goes back and finds his body, and she gets chased by Michael before running into a house. Karen and Ray arrive at Laurie's battle ready fortified house and wait for Alison to arrive. Hawkins finds Dr. Sartain, and in turn they find Alison during their search for Michael. Finding Michael, Hawkins runs him over with the police SUV and gets out of the vehicle to shoot Michael at point blank range, despite Dr. Sartain's protests. Sartain's leaning over the body, Hawkins comes up, and then Sartain just pulls out this little dagger thing and stabs Hawkins in the throat with it and kills him before taking Michael's mask and trying it on. He loads Michael into the back of the vehicle with Alison and sets off driving to Laurie's house, which he just happens to know where it is. And he's giving all this big speech about Michael and how he wants to see why he killed and what he got out of it and all this sort of stuff. Meanwhile, Michael regains consciousness and gets his mask back. Alison informs Dr. Sartain that Michael spoke to her. Distracted by demanding to know what Michael had said, Michael breaks through the security barrier between the police front of the car and the back of the car, the ones that are supposedly welded in so they can't be moved. Gets Dr. Sartain out of the vehicle, stomps on his head, and it makes it look like basically a balloon filled with chili. It just splats. Alison gets out of the car and runs off into the woods like any sensible female in a horror film would. Meanwhile, Ray steps outside to offer coffee to the police officers parked outside Laurie's house, who you never get seen invited in through the metal gates or anything like that, and who are sat outside without setting the lights off. And then he finds them dead. Michael appears behind Ray and strangles him. So Laurie alerts Karen to Michael's arrival and sends her into a hidden safe room, which she has in her kitchen, which she presses a clicker and a cupboard unit swings open to an underground cellar, which is just full of it's like a safe room, and it's full of guns and stuff like that. And she puts her in there and locks it back up, and then she goes and locks and barricades the front door. As she's doing so, Michael breaks through the glass panels in the door and attacks Laurie. She escapes by shooting him in the hand with a shotgun, getting rid of 2 fingers. and obviously that sort of makes him back up a bit. Then Laurie goes patrolling around house room by room, and as each room's being checked, she seals it off with a little button on the door, which shuts down and means that that room's done, checked, nobody can get in or out. She then goes into a room that is probably not her best idea, filled with mannequins. So obviously it gives Michael somewhere to hide. So like I said, she finds him, and then just as she finds Michael, Alison arrives as Laurie and Michael stab each other as Alison arrives, and she sees a grandma fall from the balcony. When she goes to have a look, Laurie's gone, and Alison makes her way into the safe room with Karen, who, being a genius, sort of he susses where they are and starts kicking and ragging at the cupboard unit. Anyway, eventually manages to pull it off. Karen makes some sort of noise to make Michael think that something's gone wrong and that she's pretty much stuck there. As he comes to the bottom of the stairs, she shoots him with a rifle, which stuns Michael. And then all of a sudden, Laurie appears from shadows and attacks him and sends him flying down the stairs into the safe room. She then tells Karen and Alison to get their asses out of there, sort of thing. So they do. Michael regains consciousness and grabs Karen's ankle. Alison stabs Michael with his own knife, and the two of them get out of the room. Laurie flips a switch and metal bars spring across it into place, barricading the exit and trapping Michael in the safe room. And it starts filling up with gas. Laurie lights a flare and tosses it through the bars, setting the room completely on fire with Michael in it. Laurie, Karen and Alison escape as the house, because there's just gas going off everywhere, and the house just catches up and it's just totally covered, engulfed in flames. Some poor sod's driving down the road and he cops these three women. They sort of hail him, and you see them sat in the back of a pickup driving down the road, and they're all sort of sat huddled up together, and you think everything's all rosy, and then you look down and you see Alison sat with the bloody kitchen knife in her hand. So it's like it's as it started is as it ends, with a bloody knife. And that's it. You see them running right off into the sunset, into the night, as it were, whilst the house slowly burns down. So my thoughts, like I said, it took longer for me to see this movie than I wanted to, but better late than never. It's totally appropriate in this scenario. I went into watching it with an open mind. I'd heard good things, I'd heard bad, but I wasn't going to let that influence me. I was just going to go in and just enjoy it for what it was. Like I've said before, many videos ago, I'm not a horror fan per se, but Michael and Jason are probably two of my favourite characters from horror films. I knew who they were before I'd even seen any of the films. That's how good they are, and how iconic they are. So I just went in thinking, right, I'm going to watch it for a Halloween film that's got Michael Myers in it, and that's it. Now, I know a lot of people found really blatant flaws, a lot of hardcore film fans, Halloween fans, etc. I didn't find any sort of blatant flaws that I can think of, and there was nothing that jumped out to me. Like I say, I just sat and enjoyed it for what it is. There were a couple of things that did sort of irk me a bit, but I'll get to them in a minute. I thought the build-up of Myers escaping, you thought everything was going to go smoothly, but there was a bit where I didn't mention it in the plot bit where Laurie sat opposite the sanitarium waiting for the bus to go, and you think, is she going to do something, is she not? And then that's when she drives off and goes to the family do. The way he gets his mask back was pretty well done. I enjoyed that. He tracks them down somehow, kills them, and then goes to the car and just straight to the boot, bang, mask out, boom, on. Here we go. The way that the mechanic was killed for the overalls was kind of a throwback to Halloween 2, I thought. Going back to the mask, the mask looked great. I mean, it looked genuinely weathered and worn, and you know the detail that they put into it, and the detail of having a slight hole in the side there where Michael had been stabbed in the neck in the first one was really good. And the way that Michael, you get the impression of his eye isn't right from where Laurie stuck the coat hanger in it and damaged it. Michael Myers was still intimate. I mean, despite the fact that the dude had been, what God knows what, how old was he when he killed his brother and he's killed his sister and her boyfriend? Not like 10 or something. And that one's set 15, so that's 25. So that's 65-year-old. So the dude's pretty much a pensioner over here in the UK, and he's still kicking ass. And he was portrayed really well as a killer who just hadn't lost his step despite the fact that he'd been locked up for 40 years. My only real peeve, I suppose, and it's the one that I kind of went off on about when me and my friend were watching it, was that when the two sort of podcasters or journalists, whatever you want to call them, went to see Laurie, they make a point of showing how her house is really fortified, yet near the end, when the police are there and Michael gets in, there's no mention of this, electric gate that can only be opened from inside and any of that. It's just there's a police car sat there that just drives up, and you don't see any sign of Laurie letting them in. And then all of a sudden, Michael's in, a granddaughter's got in, and it's like, well, your house isn't that safe. You're all right bollocking your daughter for the safety of hers. You spent all this money on, fortifying it, and at the end it all turns out to be useless. But I suppose that's one aspect that they probably overlooked, just to sort of get the third act, as it's called. Apparently, I've been watching a lot of Cody Leach movie reviews. Go check out his channel, by the way, if you like horror films. Dude's awesome, and he always calls it the third act. But yeah, I think that's just something they overlooked, just because why not? But yeah, that's just like a minor thing. It doesn't really spoil anything from the film or change anything. So it just slightly annoyed me a bit that they've made a point of her house being like a fortress, and then there's nothing there, at all. Laurie herself, she plays. I mean, obviously, I forgot her bloody name now. My mind's gone. Jamie Lee Curtis is such a talented actress, and Laurie Strode is one of her first characters that she ever played, and she plays the sort of so well, the fact that she's been through what she went through that whole first night, and then it shows you her with the guns in the backhand shooting the mannequins, and she's getting them in the head and in the heart and everything, and it's like, then when it shows you in the safe room with all the guns, I said to my friend, Jesus, she's like Sarah Connor from the Terminator films. She's become the Sarah Connor of the horror film, and I thought she had. But overall, yeah, I thought Laurie and Michael were the characters were portrayed brilliantly. I mean, obviously, like I said, Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm going to get a bad role. I mean, she pretty much phoned it in Halloween Resurrection, but she didn't really want to do it. So apparently, she didn't want to do it. I don't know. I'm not saying anything, but yeah. So overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I thought it was really good. I can't wait to see the next two installments. Hopefully, I'll be able to go see them at the cinema and then do a review about them, and then maybe do a spoiler-free one. And then when I get the Blu-ray, do a spoiler. I don't know, whatever we've got till next year. I'm just glad that I weren't reviewing this one just as that one came out. So yeah, I can't wait for the next two films. So there it is, folks. That's me up to date with the Halloween films, finally. And now we've just got to wait till 2020 for the next one. So please let me know what you guys thought of the film, if you've seen it, in the comments below. And what you did like, what you didn't like, what you thought was good, what you thought was bad, which is pretty much the same, but whatever. So yeah, that'll do it for me, guys. This is my review of Halloween 2018, and we're now in July 2019, but hey ho, not to worry. So yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Please feel free to leave a like. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. There's plenty of other stuff on this channel, and I've got plenty of other things lined up. I will be doing some more movie reviews. Me and my friend Josh, who runs the main OWO channel, have got something in the pipeline. It's just a matter of working it out with the time difference from the States to here in the UK. but we have something in the pipeline which I think once we get it going is going to be pretty good, and it's going to take off quite well. And I think it'll be enjoyable for everybody who's involved in it and who gets to watch it. So yeah, before I start wittering on, that'll do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever, and I will be back soon with something pretty new, hopefully. I don't know yet, but like I said, I've got a few things lined up, so we'll see what's what. But yeah, until then, guys, bye for now, and look after yourselves.